Hi everybody, and Happy New Year, and I certainly wish you all vitality and strength and creativity in this new year. Those are some of the things that I would like to see in abundance in my life. So I just wanted to talk about a few decks, just a few, that I really enjoyed using in 2017. And the first two are decks that were published in 2017 and decks that I had pre-ordered without seeing too much beforehand. And I'm very pleased with both of them. And the first one is the Star Tarot, which I had talked about in a video previously. And, you know, I really have enjoyed this deck. Comes with a fantastic book. And what I like about several things I like about the deck. I do like all of the images. But I also find that this is a deck that has sort of expanded my view on some of the cards. It's also a deck that I have used very intuitively at times. So sometimes not even really needing to look at the number and suit of the card, because sometimes the symbols or the imagery is really what's speaking about my situation. The book goes into her perspectives about each card, and it does talk about some of this, pretty much all of the symbols in the cards. But again, you might find, if you're working with the deck, that some of the symbols are speaking to you a little differently, you know, than what she says. But it's a great, I feel it's a great set, and it has helped me move energy and disperse some energy. So in that way, it has worked in sort of a healing way. You know, I think this deck has that potential, depending on situation and, you know, and the person. But it's just a beautiful deck. So that is the Star Tarot. Okay, another deck that I've used a lot in 2017. I got it in April when it came out. And that's the Mystical Tarot, and that's a low Scarabeo deck. When I had first got this deck, I used it, I don't know, for months, and I never got bored of it. It is basically a Rider-Waite-Smith style deck with a lot of rich color and just bold artwork. I really like it. And of course, you know, the printing is excellent, as I usually see in low Scarabeo decks. The color is strong. So this is just a great all-around type of deck. I'll show you a few more, but I imagine there are walkthroughs of this deck on other channels. But you can see how rich the color is. Beautiful deck, in my opinion. Okay, the third deck I'm going to talk about is an older deck, but I purchased it, actually I think it was in January of 2017. I had wanted it a long time, and finally got it. It's about, I think it's about 12 years old or so, and that is the Abyssal Tarot. And it is a deck that it's all photographs that were taken underwater, so it really does bring up emotions. The first time I got the deck and I did my first reading from the deck, it moved me. It moved me to tears, the reading I got. It was very powerful for me. I cherish this deck. I don't use it a lot. I use it when I feel the call. And as you can see, some of the imagery is very strong. Strong colors as well, and just beautiful. Very moody. And we'll end up with the Queen of Cups here. Okay, so in 2018, my plan at this point is really not to buy too many decks. There are a couple. But I'm not going to go and have a big, long wish list this year because I want to get to know the decks I have a lot more intimately, really work with them, because I have beautiful decks, some of which have not, I haven't spent enough time with. So that's my plan, and I have started today using the Marielle, which I really enjoy this deck. Now, it's a very common deck, so I think a lot of you know it. It's very creative. I find it can range from, very strong to very gentle and nurturing. An interesting book and really beautiful paintings. So when I worked with the card today, this morning, I worked with this deck, this morning, and I wanted to pick a card that would give me some focus for the year. And the card that came up was the Chariot, which I think is interesting because in my last video, a VR about music and cards, the Chariot came up in that video as well. Now this Chariot is a little different than what we traditionally see. Rather than horses, she's using wolves here, brings in a slightly different energy. But I think, it still works. It's still very much about that movement and about the strength and the will. We see that her body, the body of the charioteer, it's really cloaked in darkness, and it's behind the wolves. You can't see it, but it shows her connection to the earth and the richness and depth of the earth. And at her heart, I really like this. You see the blossom, the beautiful flower has blossomed right at her heart. And then the spray around her head. So it seems like, those energies are really in alignment. And I see that she has now gained the wisdom from all the cards previous. And armed with that wisdom and knowledge, she can move forward in a way with strength and with passion in her heart, and with that kind of enlightenment that you see there around her head in her mental sphere. So it really is still showing strength, confidence, and ability to move forward. Now, of course, the Chariot also does speak of an inward journey, but we know that what we see outward is a reflection of what we're going through inwardly. So I see a lot in this card for me, and it's really just what I want in a way, because I do want to, confidently move forward in certain aspects of my life. So I'm looking forward to see how this plays out throughout the year, at different times throughout the year, and how it will sometimes perhaps be upright, perhaps sometimes be reversed, and all the ins and outs of this card for me this coming year. So I do have a deck coming, and I'm looking forward to receiving that, and I will talk about that once I've used it for a month or so. It is the Art of Love Tarot, which I find the images to be beautiful from what I've seen, the few I've seen online. I'm looking forward to working with the energy of that deck, and it's even more special because a good friend of mine just received the same deck, and I'll have a great time discussing that with her as well. So I wish you all a wonderful new year, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.